Hey guys, Charlie from worshipguitarskills.com, and today I've got an interesting lesson for you all about the use of modes on the guitar. Now if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon, and you'll get new notifications whenever we release lessons just like this one. Now today I want to talk to you about modes. Some students have been reaching out to me and asking me more questions around the arpeggios we've been covering, and the topic of modes has also come up. Now, in short, modes is a way for you to use existing scales to create new sounds, right? And the best way that I can think of modes is to think of the word mood, right? Most people are only familiar with the major mood and the minor mood, right? If you look at a major chord, it's going to have kind of a happy sound to it. And if you look at a minor chord, it's going to have a sad sound to it, right? So those are very two different opposite ends of the spectrum. Now, within the major sounds and within the minor sounds, you've got some additional moods and tones and colors and flavors that you can create. And specifically, that is what I want to show you today. This is going to be an overview around what modes are and what you can do with them. And if you guys are digging this and you'd like for me to do more detailed training in and around the concept of modes so you can understand where they come from, give you some tracks to jam in different modes, and really kind of do a deep dive into the fascinating topic of guitar modes, then be sure to let me know in the comments section below. And with that said, let's kick right into gear. What I'm going to show you is 7 different modes, all right? And I'm literally just going to kind of jam on the spot here so that you can see what is possible to do with these modes. In short, if you take one scale, the major scale, for example, and you change the root note across the 7 different notes, you're going to come up with 7 different scales. We'll come up with the theory and I'll show you how that works. But in essence, all you need to remember for now is I'm playing the same scale, but I'm changing the root note and therefore changing the quality of the mode. So let's start with a simple major scale, which is going to be E major. And I'm just going to play everything that we're going to do now is going to be focused around an E pedal tone. And I'm going to start with the Ionian mode, which is the first mode within the 7 modal sequence of the major scale. And the Ionian mode also happens to be the major scale as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to play a simple progression in the key of E using the 4 chord and the 5 chord in the key of E, which is going to be A and B, right? Because the 4 chord and the 5 chord in the key of E is A and B. And I'm going to do that over a pedal tone so that you can hear it's going to sound like this. And now that we've got that loop going, I'm just going to play the E major scale over this. And you can hear it's going to have the typical major sound. All right, that is what you get if you mess around with just the E major scale. Now, what I want to show you next is I'm going to use a different scale. I'm going to use the D major scale, right, which sounds like this. That sounds like home, but I'm going to do something different. Instead of playing the chords from the key of D, I'm going to do a different music bed for us over here using G and A, because those are the 4 chords from D major, right? But I'm going to do something interesting, and I'm going to play an E pedal tone over that. And you'll see why in a second. So here we have G and A played over an E pedal tone. There's my loop. Now I'm going to play the D major scale over that. Listen to what this sounds like. All right, that basically gave me an E Dorian sound. I did not play a different scale per se. I just used a simple. I played a simple D major scale, but the chords that I played it over was a different set of chords, and that's why it had that Dorian flavor. Let's take it up a notch and let's play in the key of C. So I'm going to use a C major scale, but I'm going to make E the root note. Remember, before we had the D major scale and we made E the root note, it changed the D major scale into an E Dorian mode. Now I'm going to play the C major scale, but I'm going to make E the root note again, which is going to give me the E Phrygian mode, and the two chords that I'm going to pedal over, the play over the E pedal tone, will be F and G. So it's going to sound something like this. All right, so that's got a bit of a Spanish flavor to it. And again, it sounds weird when I play it over an E. But if I play all those same notes over a C, then the scale doesn't sound so weird anymore, right? But you see what happens when I change the root note of the scale. So let's keep this going. Right, now we're going to do the B major scale. I'm going to make E the root note, and the 4 and the 5 chord in the key of B, of course, is E and F sharp. So what I'm going to do now is play E and F sharp over an E pedal tone, and then afterwards I'll play the B major scale, but focusing on the E root note. It'll sound something like this. Alright, so I'm going to trigger that loop again, and I'm going to play the B major scale, but I'm going to focus on E as the root note. Listen to this kind of almost dreamy sound that you get from this Lydian mode. All right, so if you're a fan of Steve Vai and Satriani, you would have recognized those sounds. It's the Lydian mode. It's an almost dreamy type of a sound, right? It's a super cool mode. If you check out the song Worthy of It All, and also Here For You, and a host of other worship songs, they tend to use this mode quite a lot because it's got a different sound and a flavor to it. Which works quite well in modern worship, and even some of the old school worship songs as well. Next up, we're going to check out the Mixolydian mode, which has got a bluesy sound. For that, I'm going to play the A major scale, focusing on E as the root, and the two chords I'm going to jam over in terms of my pedal tone will be D and E, because those are the 4 and 5 chords of A. Here we go. All right, so now let's play the A major scale over that vamp, but focusing on E as the root note. Here we go. All right, so that has kind of a bluesy sound. That's the Mixolydian mode. We'll get into the theory later, but it's very different sound than the Lydian mode, for example. So let's keep going. There's two modes left. There's the Aeolian mode, which is the natural minor scale. For this one, we're going to play the key of G, but we're going to make E the root note. And the chords that I'll play over my E pedal tone will be C and D. Let's check that out. Right, I'm going to play the G major scale over that vamp, but I'm going to make E the root note. All right, so that clearly had a very minor like sound, but it was literally just the G major scale with E as a root note played over that vamp. And it gives me that darker, more ominous, more sad sounding Aeolian sound, which is just the natural minor. Let's do the final mode, which is a weird one. It's called the Locrian Mode. All right, so for the Locrian Mode, we're going to play in the key of F, and the two chords I'm going to pedal over my E pedal tone is going to be B flat and C, because those are the 4 and 5 chords in the key of F. It's going to sound weird, but let's check it out. Here we go. All right, I'm going to play F major scale, but focus on an E as the root note. Let's see what it sounds like. All right, so that's almost got a bit more of a metal type of a sound to it. It's used a lot in metal music. So that was the E Locrian Mode. So what I've just done is I've just given you kind of a walkthrough of showing you how I used the D major, C major, B major, A major, G major, and F major scales, just major scales. I changed the root note. I made them all the root note of E, and then I played the 4 and the 5 chords of each respective scale over an E pedal tone, and then that gave me all of those interesting sounds. So what we're going to do now, we're wrapping up the video. If you want to learn more about the modes, let us know in the comments section below, and I'll show you how you can use scales you already know to get and create moods and other types of sounds without having to learn any new scales. If you want to check that out, please let us know in the comments. And then what we will do now to end this video off is we are going to play just snippets of what I jammed throughout one after each other. And then you can just hear how the mood changes entirely from Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, and Locrian. 7 major modes. Super fun stuff. And if you guys want to learn more about that, I'll unpack it and I'll give you all the theory of that in a next lesson. All right, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Remember, hit subscribe, hit the bell icon, and if you enjoyed this lesson, share it with a friend, leave a comment, and tell us what you want to see more of so we can make sure we get content right here on YouTube that answers your biggest questions and helps you to improve your worship guitar playing. All right, guys, see you in the next one.